So here we are, the ESL Starbow tournaments, and well, Texas is the first map. There is so much I have to talk about that I just don't even know what to start with. So I'll start with the simplest thing. There's an extra mineral patch, right? That much is there. There's only one Vespian geyser. Pretty simple. Next up though, I should probably talk a tad about basically the different units and the players. We're spawning in the bottom left hand position as the purple Protoss player representing Seapole. It's Rodzyn. And his opponent up in the top right, the red Protoss player, it's GoOdy. GoOdy not playing Terran like he does in StarCraft 2, instead switching over to Protoss. Who knows what's going on here, but, well, so much has changed. I am currently using the Game Heart interface, although I may change that just so you can see all the different things coming down on the buildings. Because for a start, there's no chrono boost for Protoss or anything like that. But yeah, let's start talking about some of the differences of this, because this is probably the first game that people have seen, maybe, of Starbow. So, basically, the big difference currently is the workers return 8 minerals per trip, and also 8 gas per trip. That's why there's only one Vespian geyser at each of the bases. That is huge. That means one base economy massively higher. With the additional mineral patch as well, makes a massive difference. Okay, other things about Protoss, since that's the only race in here at the moment. For a start, obviously no chrono boosts on the Nexus, that no longer exists. As you can see, some cool stuff coming through. So primary structure can receive gathered resources, can use the chrono rift ability. So I have no idea what's going on here. I haven't seen many games with Protoss in it yet. Obviously there's no warp gate tech either, so all gateways manually come in. There is warp gate tech, but you have to have Templar archives down before you're actually able to use it, which is pretty crazy, like absolutely ridiculously crazy. So very, very fun. There's also drawbacks to getting warp gate tech. You don't want to rush up a Templar archives to get it, because it's not necessarily good. And oh my goodness, we're in our first new unit of the game. Dragoons are here. So not necessarily a new unit, but a unit from Brood War, which never made it into StarCraft 2, but is in Starbow. Very, very fun. And really a very mobile army. You can see already an upgrade coming down for them. This is Singularity Charge. It increases the range of Dragoons by 2. That means they can start basically shooting further. In PvP, I'm not quite sure how they interact. So this is the first Dragoon, as you can see. A little four-legged spider thingy. Basically, the damage with them is pretty interesting. The big thing about the damage of units in this game is there's no bonus damage versus or anything like that, but you can get increased damage against certain armor types and things like that, so it's all pretty interesting. This Nexus obviously got the cannon on the top of it. Meanwhile, we're sitting through both players getting the Dragoon range upgrade. Now, the other thing you may have noticed is that neither player rushing down expansions or anything like that, and that's because in Starbow there is obviously so much more economy you can get off of one base. There's not that urgent rush. We do have the robotics facility coming down here at the moment. Meanwhile, Zealot's coming out. Obviously, Singularity Charge getting boosted pretty quickly here. Wait, Chrono Boost. How is there a Chrono Boost going down? Chrono Boost isn't... Wait, you have to have... I'm so confused right now. When I played Protoss last night, it was the first time I played Protoss in Starbow, I didn't think you could chrono base, but apparently I was wrong. I am very much mistaken, I apologize for that. Anyway, robotic facility coming down. Meanwhile, GoOdy just getting out a good number of Dragoons moving across the map, and this is where we actually start seeing something new. One of the big changes in Starbow, as opposed to standard StarCraft 2. The pathing of units is very different. Rather than clumping up to a single point, they'll stay more spread out. It's much more similar to Brood War grouping and basically unit movement, which makes for some very interesting changes. So this Zealot is taking a lot of damage. Now, you may be sitting there thinking that's a lot of damage coming down. Generally, damage across the board has been decreased, but fights take a little bit longer in Starbow than they do in normal StarCraft 2. Currently, GoOdy losing 1 Dragoon there for a single Zealot. He's currently sitting at 3 though, so kind of boosting out another Dragoon as we see. For the moment, we've also got the robotics bay coming through. Cancel forced on that natural Nexus for Rodzyn at the moment. And over at GoOdy's side, he's getting down his own expansion. So brave move there by GoOdy, moving across the map, boldly going to basically force an expansion cancel while getting his own. Next new upgrade, Plasma Charge coming through. Increases the Scarab damage by 20. We've also got a War Prism coming out here. Scab damage, I believe... what comes out of it? It's from a Reaver, right? Okay, so Reavers are kind of a siege unit. They deal a lot of damage, but very low attack speed. So, going to be interesting to see how this is incorporated into the army. Meanwhile, GoOdy only now getting his robotics facility out. He's got very little on the ground, apart from a ton of Dragoons. 8 of them currently sitting here. So yeah, this is some fairly cool times. GoOdy getting his natural up way sooner than his opponent. That natural base just getting thrown down now, considerably later. And obviously that's going to cause more problems. New building in the game. As you can see, Observatory is also coming down here. And yeah, with the Observatory coming down, new units come out. I need to add it. I'm going to switch the overlays for the next game so we can actually take a look at all the different things that can come down as opposed to doing this purely play-by-play. Plasma Charge now has finished. That increases the damage of Reavers. Observatory finish over at GoOdy's side. He's just got a ton of Dragoons down here now. So it's worth noting the Chrono Boost does only now take 15 energy that I'm being told by Twitch chat, which is also very, very helpful. I am keeping an eye on that Twitch chat, so thank you all for filling in my knowledge gaps of this new game. Reaver production now started for GoOdy as well. One Reaver that is currently out on the map is just sitting here, going for a little drop, but unfortunately the Dragoons take out the War Prism. Reaver going to try and get some damage done, doesn't get a single shot off, gets taken down very quickly. Nice play there by GoOdy. Big loss of resources, and that is clearly not the greatest time. So, it's worth noting, to get observers out, you acquire the Observatory and the Robotics Facility. That's something which is going to affect a lot of players' strategies. You get less vision on the map, and it's worth noting that on these maps, there's no Xel'Naga watchtowers either. So that makes it a lot harder to have an idea of scouting. The only way you can know is by being active out on the map, and that's what GoOdy's doing at the moment as he starts moving across. Natural base, getting the Citadel upgrade. Meanwhile, both players pumping out a decent number of Reavers. GoOdy actually only with one Reaver at the moment, bringing over the War Prism since they are just so ridiculously slow. It's very frustrating. Twilight Council also coming down here. Pretty essential building to start getting out. Get you towards that Templar Archives if you do want to get War Protect. GoOdy going for the flank here. Is able to get his Reaver down onto the ground. As you can see, very slowly moving down, but it deals a huge amount of damage. 80 damage per hit, but with a 4.33 attack speed. Incredibly frustrating. Dragoon Reaver, good composition at the moment. The Observer will get taken down. The Dragoons for GoOdy now doing significant amounts of damage. He's charging now Reaver, going to go for the first shot. Big hit goes down on a lot of those Dragoons, and GoOdy seems to be in a very comfortable spot at the moment. Starts plowing through Rodzyn's army. Will be able to take out the majority of his Dragoons. There is a single Reaver getting Chrono boosted out at the moment. Of course, Zealots not doing too well up against this. Reaver's very good for sieging up against buildings since they just deal so much damage and they can't get away. GoOdy just looking very, very confident. A Reaver now out though for Rodzyn, and therefore that Reaver going to do a decent amount of damage through here to the Dragoons, forcing the Reaver of GoOdy to go back. Quick teleport away. Gets him back to safety, which of course is great news. Doesn't want to overcommit to that push. Workers killed, 5 killed by GoOdy so far. And in terms of resources lost, we can see Rodzyn losing about double that of GoOdy. So GoOdy is getting out that Reaver upgrade. He's also busy getting down his +1. It's worth noting upgrades take a hell of a long time to come out. And that's actually quite an important thing to note, that attack and armor upgrades really take so long to get through. So yeah, GoOdy is getting a long way ahead at the moment. We can see by his work count 54 to 34. His income massively higher because that's a lot more important than it was in StarCraft 2. Reaver Dragoon drop going to come down into the main base. Now, of course, if you get one Reaver hit off, it's going to be so frustrating for the opponent. Decimating all of those probes, a lot of damage will be done. GoOdy moving across the map. He's got a decent number of Dragoons once again. Big hits going to come down from those Reavers, able to deal significant damage very quickly. He's also dropping in the main base. Nice little hit down. Quite a few probes will die. GoOdy still pushing in, killing off the majority of Rodzyn's army. And yeah, this is possibly going to be OC Road. Probes getting pulled, which is never a great sign. The Reavers taking some damage are going to get taken down of course, they're not very good in a head-up fight, simply because of their very low attack speed. But once the damage comes through, it is significant. GG's called. GoOdy takes game number 1 of this best of 1 and therefore advances in the tournament.